On June 20th, 2015, Dragon Ball would return and take the world by storm, just like it did so many years ago. And albeit it had a shaky start due to poor animation caused by time constraints, it didn't take long for it to find its footing and show us why we fell in love with this franchise so long ago. I mean, after all, who wouldn't be hyped after seeing this?
Quadruple. No, it's
And from here, the show would only continue to captivate us with moments like these up until March 25th, 2018. Yes, 7 years ago. My god, I'm getting old. Anyways, yes, 7 years ago, Dragon Ball Super would come to an end, and with it, so did a number of other things, such as the excitement in the air from week-to-week discussions and speculation of what could come next, as well as the rantings and ravings of how amazing or disappointing the previous episode was. Essentially, a large part of the community went into hibernation due to the lack of a new story, and for a time, there was silence, until... December 14th, 2018, Dragon Ball Super Broly would release in Japan, and a few months later, it would premiere internationally, and this movie would reignite the flames of passion within many fans, through its beautiful animation and art direction, which was a stark contrast to what we got in the earlier parts of Super, as well as the amazing fights and new characters, especially its unique take on the legendary Super Saiyan. The Broly movie would cement itself as a fan favorite film. However, while many were distracted by this amazing work of art, a few months prior to its release, Toyotarou would begin laying down the groundworks for Dragon Ball Super's best saga to date, the Moro Saga. And from here, the manga would essentially take the torch of hype from the anime, and for the next 3 to 4 years, we were treated to a number of amazing moments, leading to a jaw-dropping cliffhanger. And then after that, we got Superhero and everything that came with it. Now, the year is 2026, and Dragon Ball Super is looking to do what it did 7 years ago. However, even with all this excitement in the air, one thing still lingers in the back of my mind. That being, where exactly does Dragon Ball Super go from here? Will the canonical story of Dragon Ball officially end after this last story, or will we finally venture into unknown territory and finally bring some stakes back to the series, however small they may be? And before we reach the end of Z, will we see any other arcs besides the Black Frieza one? Well, in terms of arcs we could potentially see outside of a brand new one, there are a total of 3 that we're more likely to see due to their connection to previous arcs. The first being another Tournament of Power. As many fans, including myself, believe that due to how well the first tournament did in entertaining both Zenos, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to assume that they'd host another one somewhere down the line. Now, if the Tournament of Power 2, or whatever they name it, were to be introduced before the end of Z, I could see it being the second to last arc within Super's timeline. It would give us a chance to see Goku and Co facing off against new and old foes at the peak of their power. The second arc was alluded to back during the Tournament of Destroyers, where we see Vegeta say that he planned on visiting Planet Sadala and Universe 6 sometime in the future. This arc would be a good way for Goku and Vegeta to finally reunite with their people in an interesting way. Outside of this, we could see a number of stories be born from this. Maybe the King of Sadala has been corrupted in recent years, which would cause him to turn Universe 6 Saiyans from a peaceful race into one more akin to their counterparts. And it would be up to Goku and Vegeta, as well as a few characters from Universe 6, to figure out what's going on and bring peace back to this planet. Obviously, whoever's pulling the strings from the shadow will be some powerful villain that Goku and Vegeta will have to overcome, and boom, there's already a skeleton for the arc. As for where this saga could sit, I believe it would be the very first one to be tackled, as it doesn't have much stakes compared to the others. Now, last but not least, we have Goku and Beerus' rematch. This saga could essentially be structured like the ROF saga, where there is little to no story and the fight takes full center stage. In terms of where I could see this arc landing, it would most definitely be the final saga, as this rematch has been built up since the start of Super. It would be a great way to end the series in a full circle way. Now, although there is only 1 year left before the end of Z, we know for a fact that multiple arcs can happen within a year, as seen in Age 780, where a total of 4 sagas played out, Goku Black to the Moro arc. So, what do you think? Do you think any of these sagas could play out in the future? If so, which ones? And if I missed one, let me know. After all, I still haven't watched Daima. Now, even if all these sagas played out, the question of will the Dragon Ball story officially end after the end of Z still stands. But a better question would be, should the Dragon Ball story continue? As knowing whether or not the series will go on isn't something that any of us know. But there are a number of reasons for why people believe it should and shouldn't continue. For those who say it shouldn't, they believe that due to Toriyama's passing, the series should finally come to rest out of respect for him. If you think about it, this group wanting the series to end isn't a bad thing at all, as there have been a number of franchises that have been tarnished by others, and they just don't want to see that happen to Dragon Ball. After all good things should eventually come to an end, and better for it to go out on a high note rather than a ruined legacy. On the other side of this coin, the people who say it should, outside of them simply wanting more stories, a lot of them believe that Dragon Ball has reached a point where it's so big that it's outgrown its own creator. Take Star Wars for example, where the story is so vast that even though the original creators aren't making new stories for it, others still are. And Dragon Ball has kinda reached that point, seeing as the moral arc was completely written and drawn by Toyotaro. As for where I stand on this, although I would love for Dragon Ball to go on forever, I do believe that it should come to an end at some point or another. I do want to see all the stories I mentioned unfold, and I believe that Toyotaro is the perfect person to tell those stories. The Planet Sadala saga, Black Frieza, TOP2, and the Goku and Beerus rematch would be a perfect way in my opinion to end the series on a high note, as it would have told the line perfectly in putting Toriyama's story to rest as well as finishing what he couldn't. What do you think? Do you believe Dragon Ball should continue forever, or should it end? And if so, where? Anyways, thank you to everyone that watched this video. I hope you have a great day. Peace, peace, deuce, deuce.